Hi everyone, my name is Nia O'Connell, and I want to personally thank you for tuning in every Sunday at 5 p.m., either right here on YouTube or on one of our seven different podcast platforms that we're on. That's so different for the show, and I really thank you all for being here and being a part of the journey and the feedback that I've gotten so much has been overwhelming, and I'm just happy that you all were able to take away and it was able to inspire you each episode as we go along. Now today is episode 10 and it's the final episode for the season, and I am just so happy. We have a special guest today. Now this special guest is a multifaceted man who is known for his comedic personality on social media. But after much discovery, I found out that he is so much more than that. So, for the last episode of the season, I want you to stay tuned as we shed light on the journey of Raul Blaze.
Morning, people. So this is just a PSA on common sense, logic, and reason. Now, social media has made everyone an expert at everything. Me am no expert at nothing at all. Yeah, we might talk little Spanish and French and Japanese, but there's someone out there who's way better than I am. And I am willing to be corrected because to me, to Raul, knowledge is way more important than being right. Now, if you see someone post something on social media, believe it or not, you have within you the capacity, if you take away your pre-existing biases, to use logic and reason to conclude whether or not what the person said was correct. Now, look at this. If I cared about what people thought about my hat, would I have purposely chosen it to wear and then bother about people's comments? No, because it isn't logical. But then again, I'm assuming that everyone has common sense.
Hi, Raul. Welcome.
Hey Nia, how are you doing? How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy that you joined me this morning.
Yes, I'm doing wonderful. It's a good way to start the day, The
It's
conversation. Yes, yes,
a
yes,
conversation. Now, Raul,
yes,
as I mentioned before, when I first
yes,
discovered you, initially I
yes,
just thought that you were, simply another comedian.
yes,
You're funny, but I didn't know that
yes,
there were so much more layers to you.
yes,
Now,
yes, yes.
that being mentioned,
Hmm.
you said to me that now you currently reside in the United States, but
Yes,
that's just another chapter in your life.
yes,
But
yes,
I
it
want
is.
you to take me back to chapter one,
Hmm.
which is life in Clarendon. And I know on your
Hmm.
Instagram you portray life in Clarendon a lot. So I want to know what was life really like for
Hmm.
Raul in Clarendon.
Well, I think people are gonna. This is kind of controversial because people are gonna be surprised to know that I was actually born in. I was. This is just a small part, so they can't upset with me. I'm still from Thailand. I was born at the Spanish town hospital actually, and it's
Crazy.
a St. Catherine. My body, I was born in St. Catherine. But then my mother and father, my entire family, they are from Clarendon, so I just went to Clarendon directly after that.
Mhm.
My mother was a nurse, and somehow. But I grew up in Clarendon, a place called Smithville, Clarendon. But people who are from Smithville would recognize what you're talking about because in our hearts it's Smithville, so and that's our lovely place, Smithville. And I grew up with my mom and my brothers. I had my grandparents around, cousins and uncles and aunts sometimes came by, and it was just I thought the way I grew up, I thought that was just how everyone else grew up. In rural Jamaica, you get up in the morning, there are certain things that have to be done. Like we had the pipe in our yard, lucky for us, but people had to come by and catch water.
Mhm.
But even so, you had to catch the water before them say water gone because
Yeah.
so for example, the water come about 6:30 in the morning, water would have gone by 9 or by 8:30. So you have to fill up everything while people come into your yard to fill up your water. You get up, we have an outside kitchen and an inside kitchen, depends on what is being cooked. Me and my grandfather, and my uncle used to go to the bush, go get different things to cook. Even the wood to cook, to make the fire, the fuel, and even sorry, yam and banana, whatever he has there. And on Saturdays when I go to the bush with my grandfather, while he's there digging away, I'm climbing different trees, picking tangerine, mango. But there was just enough food.
Yes.
Just food, just food, just food. And I remember one time my grandfather actually he hoisted me up into a tree because he picked where I later on I found out the correct word that the plant is also a cocoa plant.
Mhm.
But growing up in Clarendon, obviously just chocolate. It's just chocolate. When I heard about it, Mr. What is this cocoa beans thing you guys talking about? Way, way. I mean chocolate? So everything is chocolate. The thing is chocolate, the thing inside is chocolate. You push me up in the tree to pick one, to bring it to the market. And I got stuck in the tree and couldn't take me out because my grandfather was older.
Mhm.
So he pushed me up in the tree, but he couldn't get me out. And I took so long time to get out of the tree because it was high
Yeah.
and I was young. I mean, just jump out of the tree, just
Little
eventually come out of the
chocolate.
tree. But that's one of my favorite memories of there. And yeah, I went to the local school, Smithville Primary, but then I went to Mason Primary. And going to Mason Primary, I did the common entrance for Glenmere High School. And even though it's in Clarendon, someone from there, from Smithville, going to Glenmere would be a big feat. I mean,
Mhm.
people in the past have gone, but between the last person and there weren't many people. So um, I was a smart child, and I went to Glenmere, and I remember after having to make sure I got the first bus going down in the morning, because if you don't catch the first bus, or a taxi that came at a certain time, you're not going to go school or go school on time. And you
Mhm.
have to catch a certain vehicle to come back up at night. So that what it was. It was really rural kind of living. And then now on Smithville will come alive in August time or Christmas time when there's a big dance down the road and people from all over come with them corn and them crown and anchor game, and everybody a try win the big balloons. So it was a very simple life in Smithville. So that's how I grew up, and all this I guess all that simplicity and the peace of nature around me kind of contributed to the type of person I am, an easygoing person. So that was my childhood like in Clarendon. Yeah. I've never given that much detail,
Yeah.
even a concise manner.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's really
Yes,
interesting. So what I want
yes,
to know is, so Raul is at Glenmuir now.
yes.
Where does he go next? Did he attend sixth form, or did he go
Mhm.
straight to university?
I I did. I went to sixth form. At Glenmere, I was involved in extracurricular activities, but mainly track. I used to run. And I can't find all my medals and stuff, but at Glenmere during my time, I was at the champion for like distance. So from 800 up, 800, 1500, 3000 meter cross country, I used to
Mhm.
win a lot of medals for those.
That's
And
cool.
yes, I wish I'd taken it seriously back then, but Glenmere wasn't really a sports school per se beyond.
One second, Raul. Your camera is off.
Hold on, sorry. It's the back that someone was calling me.
Oh,
It wasn't a sports school. It was more like academic. Glimmer is an academic school.
mhm.
Of course, in football we did well in the Costa Cup, but it was mainly academics. And then I was student council president when I was in lower six. I did go to sixth form, and
Nice.
then popular. Student council is always popularity contest, and I was popular for being dance because I could dance and I could run.
Mhm.
I just actually I remember actually there were way more serious people in the race who had a platform and everything,
Mhm.
and I just went with my popularity. I knew nothing about what I was doing in hindsight. I just went to the class and they said, "You want to vote for you? Just dance." I'm a dance.
Let's dance.
I danced and I won some votes for some classes because that was who they know me as, and I feel so bad now because there are people there who actually had other platforms that was just popular. Not that I wasn't smart, but I wasn't focused on that. And then I left Sixth Form, and then from Sixth Form, I went to UA. I went to University of the West Indies in Mona. Yeah.
What was your major?
I majored in Spanish and I did a minor in international relations. Yes. Yes.
So I know that you said that you majored in Spanish, but one of the fun
Yes.
facts about you that I think
Yes.
all of your viewers should know by now is that you speak 5 different
Yes.
languages.
Yes.
Raul.
Yes. I
Where
do.
did
I do.
that interest for languages come from?
I think as you said, Jamaica I come from Bokok because I think realizing that I was good in Spanish when I went to UWI actually. My first the first and this is the first time I'm saying this is weird to anyone. The
Mhm.
first university I applied for was for UTech and it was for hotel and tourism management, culinary and everything. Because I absolutely love the culinary arts. I'm kind of a little apprentice chef myself. I cook at all the family events. I'm
Really?
the one in the kitchen. Yeah, I'm the one in the kitchen at all the family events. Robert, come cook. Robert is my pet name. Robert, come cook, come cook. So I got into UTech, but I I applied to university because that's what everyone was doing. But when I got into UTech, I realized that wait, I didn't have where am I finding money from? I didn't have the money to go, so I started 1 year. I tried to find a job, but I couldn't find a job. And I just waited until the other year I applied for UWI, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't that person who knew what he wanted to do from high school. I knew it was time to go to university, and I knew that I was doing well in Spanish, so I continued Spanish. And then after I realized that I was doing well in Spanish, I had this curiosity because I saw people in my Spanish class who did French in high school, and now they because of doing French in high school in Cape or CSEC, they were able to
They were more
they
advanced.
were able to advance. Yeah, I couldn't do that because I didn't know any French at all. So I signed up for the beginner French course.
Mhm.
And then after I signed for the beginner French course, then in the last year of university, the last year you have a little free elective you can choose.
Mhm.
They luckily they're just introduced Portuguese. I'm like, that's the Portuguese, and then that's how those three came in. That's how those three came in. The Spanish, French, and the Portuguese came in at UA by a little touch, yeah. Mhm. Yes,
Wow.
yes, yes.
So, what was university like for you as well at UAE?
That that's a chapter right there. Oh my God.
Because I
I,
know
I,
you told me
I,
you were involved in like
I,
everything.
I was on Taylor Hall. And Taylor Hall, all of us, yes, big hall on campus. And then on Taylor Hall, I was on Butchers, big up the Butchers fraternity.
Mhm.
And on Taylor, I was involved in, so I did track for Taylor Hall. And I also was involved in outreach program. I was also involved. Oh, and I was the president of the last year. I was the president of the Taylor Art Dramatic Society last year. And but on campus now, I think I racked up the reputation on campus as just a party person. It looks so bad right now. Everybody knew me as my nickname on campus was Mr. Wacky.
What?
Because yeah,
Really?
that was my name. Yes, during that time was when Bogo was running the place.
Yeah.
And because I was slimmer and my face kind of shaped like him. And sometimes I wear a little dog train him and thing. And my fashion was kind of different at UWI too. People know me as like a fashion style and thing.
Mhm.
I made my little statement there and people just knew me as dancer. Most people knew me as Mr. Walkie. So people from UWI seeing me do comedy are kind of wait, but I thought you were a dancer.
Mhm.
So if you knew me at UWI, you would have thought that I would have become like a popular dancer or
Professional
something
dancer.
like that. That's what I was doing. Just every dance floor, meet up on the dance floor. Because when I went, I realized now that being on the dance floor usually was a way for me to zone out,
Mhm.
zone out and thing. So that was me on campus. Um, and then I was involved in on the school side of things. What my guy, at the actual school side of things, at the party side. I was involved in both the Spanish and French clubs. I was a member of the Spanish club from day one. I joined the French club later on. I became the vice president of the French club. That was when I wasn't even a French student. So I did 1 year of beginner French, but because I was very active in the club, in my final year, I was the vice president of the French club, and yeah, that was it basically. That was it between social life, hall life, and UWI life and academic life. I was just around campus. If you were on campus, you would have seen me on a daily basis. You know, because I was very, yeah, you could see me. And I was tall too and skinny and just walking, but say, you know, you could have missed me on campus. Yeah. Yes. Yes, the campus was good. It was good.
Good. So where does Raul go next? So he has enjoyed university. He
Mm-hmm.
graduates with a major in
Mm-hmm.
Spanish and a minor in international relations. What does
Yes.
he, what does he do with that degree? Where does he take it next?
Oh, yeah. After doing my degree, I realized just how difficult it would have been to get a job because each summer I applied for jobs. You know, summer job, and I get a summer job.
Which is hard
So
in Jamaica.
hard to get summer jobs. I know you have to know someone from a long time ago. And what I had done though was maybe the March. I had planned on the March. I went into the the faculty room where you get information and there's posters on the walls, etc. I went to the humanities and I saw this ad for the Inter-American Development Bank in Washington D.C. I'm like, wow, they're trying to get interns from all over the Americas. You know, they're trying to get people to represent certain regions, and I'm like, okay, I did this. Say, okay, being in school, you know, or have a degree or whatever, and the list of things I needed, I was like ticking them off, ticking them off. Like they said,
The right
they
fit.
said the four right fit. They said the four. Then they said the four major languages of the IDB are English, okay, Spanish, okay, French, and Portuguese. But but we need someone who speaks English and one of their native. So English plus one of them. Like, wait, I speak all four. so,
You're,
so
you're way ahead.
so way ahead. So I applied, and because something of that summer internship programs in DC, especially at the IDB and the World Bank and OS, these are competitive. I can't even explain how competitive these are. These are competitive. And I applied for it. So I applied for it in the intention of just to stay without there. So when in about April or so now, you know, you're trying to see what you're going to do after university because my family lived here. So I technically didn't have anywhere to go as my own after leaving campus. Campus was my home.
Mhm.
And then I remember April, I was walking along in campus and this guy said, Raul, I saw your name on the IDB email list and whatever. They've been, you know, but I haven't seen you responded and it's been a month.
You
And
mean
he asked him what he was talking about. Yes, it's been a month. So we're talking about some IDB internship, and I didn't remember anything. I literally didn't remember anything. So I ran into the population lab, one of the labs of humanities, and I go through all my email. Well, I had two emails. So I go through my Hotmail, and they've been contacting me. I said, "Oh, this is the thing I applied for." So I had to rush back down to humanities, look at the qualifications, familiarize myself about it, what they were talking about before I could go, and that was my last warning. They were telling me this is the last time we're contacting you. So I gave them a number and they called maybe the same day. And because I said I spoke other languages, the lady after she interviewed me in English, she asked me a few questions in all the other three. I'm like, serious? She's like, all the other three.
sure?
And yeah, lucky things to me, and Portuguese it was new, but I was able to maneuver it. And then anyway, so I left UWI. I left Taylor Hall with my bags and the bag and pan, and I went on a trip. You know, the tickets and everything, and packed my stuff and get to DC. Well, before I went to DC, they even allowed me to stop in Florida for. So they asked me when you want to go because it's so important. It was such an important interview. Where you want to go first? I said, I'm going to go to. Can I go to Miami? Can I see my mother first? Can I go to DC? I'm going to. When I was in Miami, I was like, where am I going to stay in DC? I never think that part here.
Yeah.
So my cousin lived in Maryland. I stayed with her, but my internship was how I was able to come here for the first time and see my family. That was the apart from being an intern in DC, that was the biggest part of it. So I could come and see my family here.
Mm.
And so yes, I went to DC, did my 2 months or 2.5 months at the Inter-American Development Bank. I worked maybe a 2 blocks away from the White House, and um, yeah, it was just new. I kept pinching myself like,
Like
some things are real.
PCR? Yeah.
So sometimes, for the first 2 weeks, I would walk to the White House every lunchtime to remind myself. Just walk there like,
Like, yeah,
okay, this is,
I'm here.
I'm here. Then I go have my lunch. I have a short. I'm like, literally walk there, go look. Okay, this is for 2 weeks, and then after I was like, okay, that's just the White House. So by the third week, when like some new interns came from other part of the world, I'm like, that's the White House guys. This is whatever. So I'm like a pro this time, So I did very well there. My internship was what I did basically was I did, apart from, I saw they had a new documentation system that I was in charge of. I was the first intern to do that, and the reason why they used me because the information is in different languages. They wanted to file them in certain languages, and then now when the auditors, because I worked in the office of the auditors general, they would bring the information from all the different countries, the fields where they did their audit, and bring it in a certain form, and based on the language that they wanted that audit to be in, I had to put it
And
in that language and translate it and edit it along their guidelines. I'm a supervisor. So that was what I did for 2 months, and it was a very rewarding, very fulfilling experience. So I was in 2006. I was Jamaica's and the Caribbean's intern for the IDB. Yeah,
what
so
a
that was that.
wonderful opportunity.
Yes, yes, it was amazing.
So after the
Yeah.
2 months and after your internship finished,
Mhm.
what next? Did you have to go back to
Ooh,
Jamaica?
I came back. I went back to Jamaica. I had dreams of doing so many things because I was lucky because I left I left campus and with that opportunity, and jumped into that. And I thought that this could have brought me, open opportunities. Some, but then that was when the reality of just how um that was when the reality of nepotism and the culture of links kind of shot me in my face, because
Yeah.
I thought that with 4 languages, a degree in Spanish and IR, and working at the IDB, a job, I wouldn't say a job would be waiting at, but at least I would deserve a few interviews. I came back to Jamaica, I struggled to get interviews. I struggled to get interviews. And people who left you with the same degree as myself, were working here and there because these people had yeah, yeah, we talk about it, but we don't really talk about this connection thing. We have to stop it. We need a pipeline for people who are talented.
Yeah.
But even before that, I thought I was going to leave and go to Nottingham because I got a 80% scholarship to Nottingham to do a master's in two. I got in two programs, one conflict resolution and one, because my goal was, once I touched DC, I said my goal is United Nations was my goal. So
Mm-hmm.
conflict resolution, and the next one was social and global justice. And when I was in DC, the Prime Minister came by and they told her, we have a young man here from Jamaica who's doing exceptionally well. You must meet him. He's a future leader, whatever. I met the Prime Minister and I told her, I explained to her what I was doing, and she was very. So she said, when you come to Jamaica, I expressed to her I needed the assistance to go to Nottingham. She said, when you go to Jamaica, please make sure you just email my secretary or whatever. When you come to Jamaica, let's come up. We're gonna help you go to Nottingham. When I got to Jamaica and I sent the email and everything, explaining who I was and whatever, no one knew who I was. No one. That information wasn't passed over to anyone. So, and I tried for months until the day before, because October 21 was the day I should have been going to Nottingham. I tried. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was completely brokenhearted because I done everything right. I done everything that the book said I should do. And then I just that's how I ended up teaching. I enjoy teaching, but it wasn't my original goal. But I realized that I had to do something, so I did Spanish. So I'm going to teach Spanish. So I got a job at my alma mater, Glenmere High School. I taught Spanish for a semester or 2 semesters, and then afterwards, when I came to Kingston to live, I taught Spanish at Wilma's Boys for 3 years. Yeah. So yeah, so that's where that's what I did after DC. I came back and I taught Spanish in Jamaican high schools. Mm.
Boy, this listening is really rough.
Yes, it is.
Rough. I mean, look at you, you speak four different languages at the time. You have your degree, and even then you
Mm,
went abroad, you got
mm,
experience. And I always say, you get that foreign experience, you come home, you must get a job.
mhm,
For months,
mhm,
nothing was
mhm.
happening.
Yes, 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 yes.
But what I love is that you were able to use the resources you had. You could speak Spanish,
Mhm,
and you went and you taught
mhm,
Spanish. But you said
mhm.
that you only taught Spanish for 3 years at Woolworths after you did one
Yes,
year at Glenmore. What did you do next?
yes. And I'm glad you said, that I used the resources I had, because this is for people who might might feel. You see, we always get people telling to us, don't feel disappointed and don't feel discouraged, and these are not real things. You People act as if being discouraged or being disappointed is a purposeful. No one wants to be discouraged or disappointed. So don't stop telling people don't be, because that is it's an emotion that exists. Now say, encourage them after that, what you do after. But I've realized that don't be disappointed and don't be discouraged. They don't help, because you're adding something. You're making the person feel as they're being something that
Mhm.
they're choosing to be that way. So I've always found that. So what I want to tell people is that if you find something that you think you've failed at in the now, but there's something else you can back up on, just do it. Do it because that thing that you need maybe come back to you, but in a form,
Mhm.
different form. And even though I hate the cliche of when I hear time, blah, yada, 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 I hate to hear it, but I'm not gonna say it, but I'm just gonna say sometimes eventually the things that you wanted come back. And if they don't come back, you kind of sometimes fall in love with the secondary thing. And while you're working on the love for that second thing, you might learn to, the first thing might find a way to come back in your life. So use your resources, and thanks for saying that. Um, yeah. I so after Wilmers, so it's Glenmere then Wilmers. After Wilmers, I applied for the JET program while I was in Wilmers, right? I was at Wilmers then. The JET program, the Japanese exchange and teaching program, and then I went to Japan after Wilmers. That's
Big,
yeah, I went to Japan after Wilmers. Yeah.
why you sigh? Why you took a big sigh?
Because that's the next. That's like I can write a book on each different chapter of my life, and Japan is an chapter, maybe at least 3 chapters in a one. But yes. Mm.
What was life like in Japan? You could tell me a little bit about Japan, man.
Yes, so moving to Japan was moving to a completely different universe. Like nothing was the same. The people, the culture, the language, blah blah blah. Everything was just new.
Mhm.
Like pow. Because at least I spoke the other languages. I didn't speak Japanese. So I was like walking around like, what am I doing here? All the places. Because I had no interest of living in Japan before that. But as the opportunities, I said about opportunities, and I first moved to a place called Toyama. So before I went to Toyama, so your orientation is in Tokyo. So when you get to Japan, you're in Shinjuku, and Shinjuku is like would make Times Square look like, baby. Shinjuku is just amazingly and bright and lively. So you apply to Japan, oh, I'm in Tokyo, yeah, woohoo, in Tokyo, yeah, and I'm saying whatever, 3 days in Tokyo. But then the third day comes, and then third day is when they ship you off to wherever you're gonna be based. It's the most depressing feeling, because after you build up all these months with people in your country doing orientation and you get to the hotel or whatever, this is the time you're gonna get shipped off to wherever you're gonna go. So I went to Toyama. The plane ride was 50 minutes outside of Tokyo, north. So northwest, yes, northwest, and then Toyama was a very Toyama prefecture. I lived in Toyama City, which is the capital of Toyama Prefecture. And Toyama is a very, on the outskirts, you can see the mountains, but I live on the flats. It was a very quiet, small city. You have a major train station. and everything, quiet people around you. Luckily for me, and I didn't have to go through that because I don't know how I would survive the depression and the loneliness. Luckily for me, on my building, I had a Jamaican. You know, I'm so thankful for Vanessa. Vanessa, wherever you are in this world, I'm so thankful for you. I mean, know how much I do it. You know, Vanessa, you have to start because sugar, because, you know. I know that the back upstairs, back and
Keep
forth,
you
and
like
then now,
sane.
hmm?
To keep you sane.
Kept me sane because that's one thing Japan can do things to you psychologically. And I also had someone from Hong Kong, someone my neighbors from Canada, United States. So it was more of an international type of, even though we didn't get together a lot, just knowing that people were there kind of embraced you. And then I taught at two schools, a school which was formerly an all-girls school that has boys, but they specialize in nursing. So in Japan, whatever you want to do, you have high schools for those. So if you want to be nursing, you have nursing courses in high school, you know, whatever. So I taught at that school for 2 days and 3 days and 2 days I went out. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would go to a school called Shonogyo Koko. It basically means Central High School, Central Agricultural High School. You go up on the bus, you drive way out in the middle of Tayama, bush. You come off of the bus now. When you come off of the bus, you have to walk through some rice paddy. Like, you know, when you look on Japan, you see the picture of the paddies.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk through there, and the Japanese. I remember the first day, the Japanese people them in them field, you know, them sharp bend over and them look up
Like, where are you going?
like who are you going? And until them get used to me.
Yeah.
And you walk up a hill now, forgot. And when you reach the school gate now, between the school gate and the actual school, are like 400 meters. So, and it was loud because it was different because those schools are kids who aren't, you know, kids who had a rougher life. So them parents them got agricultural schools. It's a boarding school, and the kids are loud. Raul, say. You know, everybody say Raul, say. They're just kind of this crazy type of Genki type of attitude, and farm animals, you know, cows, goats, pigs, and then about this school now in they encourage you or they give you a belt to put on your neck or your hand because the bear, Japanese bear, to run away the Japanese bear if they're coming. So the ching yes. So that's so rural. I my that experience whenever I tell people that in Japan, they're like, I never had that. Well, I had that. We walk and ching and I've seen a Japanese there before. I've seen the hot spring monkeys, the macaques. I've seen them before. I've seen a sero, which is a Japanese wild boar. I've seen a tanugi, which is a raccoon dog. Because that's where I thought.
Dog.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you can Google it, a raccoon dog. I don't know why they call it that though, but it's like a raccoon, but like a raccoon dog. It looks like a raccoon though. Halfway between a raccoon and a dog. Yes.
First I
It's
hear
called. It's in Japanese it's called tanuki. Tanuki. And that was Toyama, and then and then winter time. My first time in seeing snow was in Toyama, and it was. I didn't prepare. I didn't think I was prepared for winter at all because I had this romantic image of the snow or whatever. But
like
when
no angels and
no
snowball
angel,
fight.
snowball fight. Well, Toyama don't play with snow. When Toyama says snow, I'm like, how did I not know this? I heard people talking about it, but I'm like, when it came, when Toyama snow came, so the next day I went to school out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
I was in the city where at the girls' school, right? Of course, the roads are clean by the snow truck or whatever because it's city and the trams need to go on the trams need to ride on the tram. But out there in the middle of nowhere, nobody really cared. I go to the farmer, then he was very shovel. When I came off the bus, was a completely different place. Everything was covered in white, and I didn't even know where I was because I was trying to navigate the space. Imagine that the snow is not there because everything was white. Sometimes you can see a piece of the leaves protrude out, the green ones, but everything was white. But it was cold and I hated it, but it was also magical at the same time, you know? And that was Toyama, and then I moved to two other places. Okayama down south, but my last 2 years were spent in Osaka. So I got to live that city life for 2 years. Because Osaka city is just crazy big city with amazing food and culture and noise. So Japan was many things. I had to deal with loneliness. And the thing is, even if you enjoy being a loner, the kind of loneliness that Japan brings is a different kind of loneliness.
You
Because
have
loners,
one, you culture,
no,
your culture shock, it's
yes,
a lot all
yes,
at once.
all at once, all at once. And alone, I think the thing about loners like to know that if they want people, they can go and access people.
Mm-hmm.
The Japan kind of loneliness is that even though people are there, they because you can become friends with a Japanese person, but don't get to really know them, because they have a bridge at a certain point, right? And the culture is so different, and they don't show emotions. They can't really bond emotionally with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see through sadness in the society because I'm a sponge. I pick up emotions, and I can see that there's no relief for all the overwork that's going on there and the stress, because Japan is very stressful, but there's the resources to deal with the stress and the mental aspect aren't they're there, but it's so stigmatized. Worse than here, because everyone has to be strong and work almost 18 hours per day, and that was one thing that I couldn't deal with. I was very, very sad. I was very, very sad there. And maybe it's not a country's fault, it's just me. It wasn't for me. But I made some very good connections and friendships there. And I learned a completely different culture, language, and people. And I have a great respect and admiration for Japan and for the people who are still there. But sometimes certain things aren't for you and it's time to leave. So I left after 5 years. But I'm still very, very thankful. That was an amazing. The opportunity I would tell anyone to go to Japan. But try the program, go there, live for a year, and then leave if you want. But try it. Try it.
Just to end the conversation about Japan, I know that it was completely out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So they say that's where growth happens, right? Out of your comfort zone. So how do you
Yes.
think that your entire Japan experience helped you grow?
I think being in Japan showed me that I was in a space that I mean I had control over my space, but I had something to do so far away, so I was committed to it, and I wanted something where I had be more in charge. I realized in Japan I realized that maybe that strict 9 to 5 per se wasn't my thing. And even though when I came back to the United States, I was still doing a 9 to 5, but Japan kind of showed me that structure isn't my biggest friend.
Mm-hmm.
I like spontaneity. I like being in charge of things, and I was more of a creative than an academic. So Japan helped me realize those kinds of dreams, and my experiences in Japan they have allowed me to see the world in it's added to the dimensions upon which or through which I could see the world, and it's also provided me with a lot of material that I need to share more because Japan is also very funny. So it helped me in those ways. It inspired me and it made me realize what I really want to do with my life.
What is it that you really wanted to do?
All right, direct. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Those are things I want. I want to do art. I want to do the art.
The arts.
I want to produce something that create all kinds of emotions among people. I want people to laugh. I want people to cry. I want people to be angry with the characters. I
Mm-hmm.
want people to fully participate or to live their lives vicariously through the images and the stories that I bring to life. So I want to create art.
I can see you doing that, and you're already doing it now.
Yes, I'm very thankful.
So you, before you got to Japan, you spoke 4 different languages. When you got to Japan, you learned a whole nother language. What language in Japan did you learn again?
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yes.
So then
Mhm.
you speak 5 different languages now.
Mm. Yes, I do.
Where do you go next with all of that?
Oh, I plan to with I think right now I think I separate myself from other people who blog based on just my background and the things that I share, the things I put, just my style, my approach to comedy.
Mhm.
But where do I go now? I think I not many people in entertainment speak so many languages, and I have to find a way to use all of those. So what I want to do, I'm gonna create material that speaks to different people because my plan is not just to be influential in the Caribbean or US. I want to get into the markets of all the languages I speak. So
Mhm.
I'm working on material. I'm working on material. Well, I have short sketches in other languages, but eventually I plan to write maybe full movies or full stage plays in each of the languages I speak. So I want to have a full Japanese stage play that tours Japan, or a full Portuguese that tours Brazil, a full Spanish that goes to South America, etc. So I want to I want to I want to be influential in all the markets, you know? Yeah, yeah,
Love that. So I just want to
yeah.
backtrack a little bit. So once
Hmm.
the Japan chapter closed, was
Yes.
that when you decided to live in the US, or did you have to go back to Jamaica at the time?
No, that's when I decided to live. That's when I decided to live here, because my family was already here. So after leaving Japan, I came directly over here, and I've been here since I worked as a dispatcher for a while, a bilingual dispatcher for a while. Which I didn't. I was bored every day. Okay, hola, buenos días. Gracias por llamar, whatever. Gracias por llamar, wherever, wherever. ¿Y cómo te puede ayudar, señorita? Sí,
All
otra
right,
vez.
all
De
right.
pronto, yeah. Yeah, how can I help you? You know, thanks for calling so and so. How can I help you, man? It was the same. It was like it's the same thing every.
Over and over.
So I decided afterwards. I decided, hey, let me try to put out a few sketches and see what happens. And no, I'm there. I still need to step it up a notch because I want to do things that just blow away the minds of people every time. So I'm still working on some material that's gonna bring a different and creative style to comedy as I do. So yeah.
So on the
Mhm.
topic of comedy, when did
Yes.
that, of all the other titles that you have accumulated in the
Mhm.
previous
Mhm.
years, when did comedian get added?
Even though I don't really consider myself as a comedian per se, but I believe I believe I say I do comedic sketches, but I don't. I would be a comedic writer, but I don't think I myself am a comedian, even though, and I'm glad that people see me as such. But that came in from what from I was young. I was always a funny kid. I was always funny.
Mhm.
I was always funny, but even my family know that I was a drama, full of drama all the while. But then yeah, so it's always been there. I was just always afraid that people wouldn't appreciate it, you know, or people wouldn't understand. Just the fear of doing the first sketch, and then once I started doing it, and then for a while, for a long while, it was like, it was on my personal page until I remember taking the step to do a new Instagram page, which was before Raul Blaze. It was called Raul, um, Raul Multi Talented something. I went through two names before I chose Raul Blaze, and then in about 2017, I would say I started to say, hey, let me do this, and maybe in 2018 I started getting traction. You know, so I would say I decided to do this in 2017.
17. And what I
Yes.
love so much about your platform is that
Hmm.
your skits, they're they're so different than the average comedian's own, or
Yes.
average person
Yes.
who does their skits, because yours is so educational. I mean, I'm
Yes.
learning a different language every time I watch a video. I'm learning something about a different topic. I'm learning about a
Yes.
different culture. And
Yes.
you speak heavily about different types of topics that you're passionate about. For instance,
Yes.
um, mental illness. I know you're very passionate
Yes.
about that. So,
Yes.
and in our previous discussion, you mentioned to me how important it is for you to not just
Hmm.
have these, materials out there, these different things out there
Hmm.
that are meaningless. You mentioned
Yes.
that it's important that your material out there is going to be meaningful and can help
Hmm.
someone. And I really admire that about you and your work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, thank you. I believe anyone who gets the platform should use the platform in a positive way. because not many people who positive people don't get platforms all the time. You know,
Yeah.
we negative people not say negative, but people don't get influenced in the right way from social media, and the people who are influential don't influence in a way where encourages people. A lot of times, people who influence show you what they have, right? And people want that, but they hardly show you how to get there. So people just believe that I'm going to just do whatever I need to do to get this. And that is where the moral fabric is destroyed, because everyone believes that life is all about flashing this and flashing that and material. And no one speaks about the human nature, the day to day human nature of human beings. We're just flashy and stuff. But it's good to connect people that, hey, beyond all the things you can buy and put on this and run this inside exists. So that is why I find it very important for people to understand that yes, I do comedy, but somehow I feel like I'm actually doing comedy or vlogging to bring people to inside. I think it's the other way around. I'm using that to get to here, So that's why I'm communicating with people through laughs, and then when they laugh, I say, wait. Because if you realize some of my jokes have maybe two layers, like, I do that. So I do the shock value and I'm like, wait, did you just say that? So
Yeah, man, they're very educational. I like that you put a comedic spin to it. It makes it
yes,
easier to take in the information.
yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So speaking on mental health advocacy, in
hmm
all of your sketches you speak about it and you add different
hmm
comedic spins to it. But you mentioned to me before that you're very passionate about it. So you want to talk about it, how you're so passionate about that?
Yes, I'm very passionate about it because I myself have been open with my chronic depression, and it is something is a constant fight that it's a part of who I am, and because it's a part of who I am, I cannot present myself as something without showing a critical part of who I am. More so if addressing this will also help people. So I don't want to have my business out there like that. I'm a private person, but I've made that sacrifice. Well, if somebody's gonna be helped by this, oh well, oh well, I'm gonna share this with people if someone's gonna be helped by this. And every now and again, I get messages in my inbox about, hey, thanks for your last post, and those posts may not garner as much support or trend as others do, but the few people who comment and the few people who inbox me about how this has made their lives a little bit better, and how that just using my platform in this way helps them, or they can point to this video whenever they're speaking to someone who doesn't understand what they're going through. That is a lot of joy for me. I can't even quantify it or qualify. I can't even quantify that joy fully. So the importance of it for me is, one, it's therapeutic for me because my skits and doing that, it's also my internal therapy to remind myself that this is what you're going through, even though I don't need a reminder because it happens every day, right? And it's also cathartic because when I create and I push this out there, this information out there, it makes me feel better that people feel better.
Like a
So
coping mechanism too.
say it again.
Like a coping mechanism too for you.
Yes, it's a coping mechanism for me too. So that is exactly. So that is the importance of talking about it, because we don't talk about it enough. And at the time, growing up in Jamaica, we see people who we know something is wrong. Like it's a family, this person is, yeah, you have that person in your family, that person on the street, they say, okay, I just answer that, but we don't really understand why they are like that. And no one has ever taught us about that. We don't know why. Our first word, even most of the people on the road in downtown Kingston, say, oh, so a madman or a madman. Most of these people aren't mad. They just have mental issues that have never been addressed, and they can't cope in society because no one helped them. If you get these people psychiatric care and put them on their regimens, they live a normal life. They live a normal life. They're regular people who it's just like you have somebody who say you have somebody who is a hemophiliac and the person just bleed, and no one pays attention to them. You say, okay, and just a bleed out stuff. That's equivalent of having someone on the street and say them just mad, you know? And them just mad. And these people aren't crazy. These people are sick and they need help. Um that's why I do what I do. I believe that I'm going to use my voice to bring attention to whatever I'm going through because there are other people who go through it. And I want to. I don't want to. I would never want to be seen as material or superficial because there's too much depth for me to be seen on the surface.
Mm. Well, I
Yeah.
just want to applaud you for even sharing your own mental health story with your
Thank
viewers
you.
and for impacting others. It really, I'm sure it means a lot to them. And that's
Thank
the
you.
whole point of your platform is to create contact to impact others, not just for our life and for our share.
Yes.
And that's one of the
Yes.
first things you mentioned to me when we first met is that you don't do this for the likes.
No. Yes, I do it for that. For yeah, I do. That feels good. Like I mean, eventually when it's when the money start coming back, my nice post I put that and then something there later. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's that. But say, but for now, it's just that it's just an inside thing. It makes me feel good. It feel good.
So, Raul, right now, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
went through that whole journey. You currently live in the US.
Yeah.
You are a Zumba instructor,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a language tutor.
Mm-hmm.
One holy person,
Dedicated.
one holy person. When do
Mm-hmm.
you find time for yourself?
Oof. Oh.
A big
Whenever I'm
question,
going
right?
to the whenever I'm going to the gym, right? So I walk to the gym. It's a mile to and from. And during that walk to the gym I work and I walk. So I'm relaxing. I'm preparing myself for my class. I'm going to teach instructor or whoever I'm going to train. But I'm also absorbing everything that I've become and everything who I was and everything that I want to be. Most of my sketches, the ideas for my sketches come while I'm walking. So so that's when I find time for myself. And most of the time, I'm inside my head every day anyway. So I'm in here everywhere. So I'm thinking. I'm always thinking about it. Creatives. When you're an overthinker or an active mind, I'm always thinking. But I get a lot of time for myself. I can organize my time better to maximize it because I'm busy, but I'm not as busy as I would love to be. But I find the time to be myself, and I find time to for I've my niece. I live here with my brother and his wife, and I have my niece and nephew here, and they I have to find time for them. I have to find because I just love hanging around them. So whenever um whenever my niece comes from school, I play with her and I play with my nephew who's 2 years old. And they kind of give me that energy also. When I was going through 2017 or 16, I should say, when I maybe went through one of my darkest stages of depression when I moved back here. Because even when you move from the place, you still have to go through a phase, right? My niece at that time, she like when I she was like my medicine. Whenever I see that little girl, oh my god, men are playing and she just give me some life. So sometimes family members can do that to you. But I do find time for myself with my family or just taking a walk. And people don't realize taking a walk is such a wonderful, it's a rejuvenating thing. I think we overlook it,
Mm.
right? Hmm.
But I'm glad that you're able to find time for yourself and,
Yes,
and you hang out with your family and that makes you feel good. Because a lot of
yes.
people tend to get so caught up in their day-to-day activities and they have this to do, that to do, and they just get
Hmm.
burnt out.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes.
And to just wrap up talking about your sketches, One thing
Yes.
most people probably don't know about you is that you are super shy. And you told me that when you take your sketches, we see this perfect video, but you say you've
Yeah.
never posted a video
Mm-hmm.
that hasn't that you haven't taken 20 different takes.
20 takes. Yeah.
20
Yeah.
takes.
20 takes for each
Oh
video. Yeah.
really?
Yeah. 20 takes. Yep. I've never done a video less than 20 takes. I've never done one because I I um I start. So I think the shyness is more on the nervous side, because yes, more nervousness because even though I'm here inside my room, on the road with nobody else.
Mhm.
And but soon as and then it once we turn off the camera, even my sketches, if you should see how I perform my sketches without anyone around me, like because you see that. I think that is good. You should see some of the things. I'm like, I said one day you should try to pretend that you're not recording and do this. But I'm like, we can't pretend me know some
Stop
record.
pretending. No, you hit record.
No. And as soon as me press stop stuff, this character come out. I'm like, why, Raul, why you do this to me, Raul? Why do this to me? Do this no man, do this on camera. I cannot. It's gonna take years, but I'm getting so much better now.
Mhm.
I'm getting so much better at just people enjoy what I do. So, don't worry so much. People enjoy it. So don't worry about people that enjoy it because you've really proven yourself that you are talented in terms of humor. You have a sense of humor, and people like your sketches. People laugh whenever people go when I go through the comments and I see sometimes people laugh. I'm like, wow, I did this. So
I'm
so
a
I'm gonna
funny.
yeah, are they really, they're laughing at my jokes. So I'm working on that. I'm working on being, especially during Corona, I've been able to go out there and do things in person, in front of an audience. But maybe with all this camera practice and all this quarantine practice, maybe when the world opens up again, I might be able to MC some. Well, not me, but I like MC. It's weird. I may not be able to stand up on stage as a stand-up comedian, but as an MC, where we can bust a joke, but it's not up to me to give a joke because that's not my job.
Mhm.
So I think an MC might be the closest I come to a stand-up comedian. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
being an MC probably help you get into the groove of things. And
That's what the fir-
you can end up being
that's what someone tell me.
yeah.
Someone tell me that's the way, because yeah, just because it helps you. It eases you into it, as you say. Yeah.
So you don't have to throw yourself on a stage and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you
Yes,
start
yes,
by being an MC and then you take your time and when you're really comfortable, hey, I can do this thing.
yes,
Try it
yes,
out one day. If it's
yes,
for you, then you're
yes,
going to be great. I have no
yes,
doubt.
yes.
So Raul, I just want to thank you for walking me through the different
Hmm.
chapters of your life. But
Wow.
I just want to talk about the final, well, not the final chapter, but the
Hmm.
current chapter that you are in now. What is Raul
Hmm.
doing today?
Today I have management right now. I have my cousin. I call her my cousin. My cousin and my manager. She's my cousin, and she's good at all the things I'm terrible at:
Mhm.
management, time management, organization, planning. So we have a lot of things coming up. I am currently working on, because the Raw Blaze is kind of like an umbrella, like an enterprise for the things that will fall under. So right now I'm actively working on my what am I working on? Oh yeah. The oh, well, sometimes you even forget. We're working on the fitness aspect. So I'm coming out with a program for fitness. It,
Mhm.
it involves a meal plan, meal suggestions, sorry, a workout, and a dance, right? So it's gonna compete. The plan for it is to compete again. In 5 years, I wanted to be a viable competitor to Zumba. In 5 years, I'm going after Zumba, yeah, but mine is more for Caribbean feel. So even though Zumba is very Latin, my thing's gonna be like Afrobeat, dancehall, and soca.
Mhm.
So it's more, island vibe. That's the workout routine. And then I'm currently also working on um the academic part. I'm trying to get my lessons. online, you know. People can go there and buy them rather than me trying to tutor everyone. I'm going to just try to teach a class, have a recording, and people buy the courses separately. I have 2 books coming out eventually this year. Yes, I have one like a Louise Bennett Labrish thing. I have 10 poems coming out, and I have a multilingual book for young readers of Jamaica. It's in 4 languages. For example, my name so and so, me come from Jamaica. Je m'appelle whatever. Je suis Jamaican. Yes, so the kids are learning 4 languages at the same time while learning about Jamaica. And that's it for. Oh yes, and on Sundays I have a thing. The second Sunday in every month, I have a thing called Sunday Matinee, which is a one-man show, variety show of me and my characters. So I have many things planned coming up. And yeah, you guys should be seeing them soon. Yeah.
Oh, you're multifaceted, bad.
Yes.
No, but really, congratulations to you and congratulations to everything that you are doing and that you are going to accomplish in the near future. I wish you all the best on the release of your books. I can't wait to actually buy it. Encourage everyone to support Raul in all that he's doing. Another fun fact about Raul: when Raul was in Japan, Raul studied law. So I mentioned that I just had to make sure to add a list of things. People, when I say Raul is multifaceted, it is no joke, okay?
Yes. There's another B to Raul Blaze. Raul Blaze LLB.
LLB, all right. Raul, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talking me and my viewers and listeners to your well, not your entire story, but to a lot of what you had to go through to where you are today. And I wish you all the best on your journey.
Thank you.
Continue to add chapters to your book.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being so patient, you know.
No problem. Raul, where can my listeners and viewers find you?
You guys can find me at Raul Blaze on all platforms. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and please make sure to follow me on TikTok, right? But that's where it's at. Yes.
So follow Raul everywhere on social media, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, YouTube. Raul, again, thank you so much for sharing today, and thank you to all my viewers and listeners. I really do hope that you were able to enjoy Raul's story today. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video here on YouTube or podcast with a friend or family member or anyone you believe that would benefit from this discussion today with Raul Blaze.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll see you in the next video, everyone, and take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
How is that coming on me the Facebook? How coming out again, Maureen can chat. Hello, Maureen, you can't hear me? You can't see me? You can't hear me? You can't see me? Oh, Pitney, looking at me handbag. You see, think come. So yes, Maureen, after me go buy my ticket for go Jamaica, guess what happened? When some no call me and tell me say she nah bother marry the worthless boy, and that me say me know where she pick up him from. Me no want she marry him either, cause me know where she pick up him from. Pitney the other thing, not that thing. Yeah, so tell me something. When next year I go Jamaica? Oh, that means you can't carry down something for me. Come in, but I go.